Nick Gonzales is on fire and at the top of Scott's sleeper hitters for next week. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Friday, June 7th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and let's begin with the fringe two-star pitchers for next week. Will we be starting Zach Eflin up against the Cubs and at the Atlanta Braves?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not fearful enough of either of those matchups that I'd be willing to sit a two-start Zach Eflin, who hasn't been as good this year, but he's been good enough. I want to point out real quickly, too, Seth Lugo seems like an obvious start with as well as he's pitched, but his matchups this week are the Yankees and the Dodgers.
Ooh, yeah.
So there's two stud lineups, obviously. I still think you start Seth Lugo, but maybe not as much conviction as you normally would.
Well, what about his teammate, Brady Singer, who has those same matchups?
Yeah, and he got knocked around a little bit on Thursday, and I don't really trust the success he's had anyway. I'd leave Brady Singer for points leagues with those tough matchups.
Marcus Stroman is at the Royals and at the Red Sox next week.
He also got knocked around a little bit on Thursday, but was really strong in May, and he has good ground ball tendencies, so I think he's a good bet to bounce back, even with the matchups being a little shaky. Yeah, I'd lean yes on Marcus Stroman.
Jose Soriano at the D-backs and at the Giants.
Points league only. That's it.
All right, Kyle Harrison is home against the Astros and Angels.
Yeah, kind of a stretch to start him, even with two on the schedule like that. But if you're hurting if you're just trying to maximize volume in points leagues, I think you could do Kyle Harrison. Not eager to, though.
What about Jordan Montgomery, who gets the Angels and the White Sox?
Not with the way he's performed the last couple turns. And really, he hasn't looked good all year. His curveball doesn't seem up to its usual standards, Jordan Montgomery. Until that changes, I think he's just a pure sit.
All right, which two-star pitchers are we looking to add and stream for next week?
So I got 3 here. Eric Fetty, who just barely makes the cut here. He's 79% rostered, but he's losing steam. I think if you're tempted to drop him, the 2 starts this week are reason to hold on one more time. Give Eric Fetty one more go at it, especially since the first matchup is at Seattle. That's a really favorable one. Chris Paddack gets the Rockies and the Athletics, both at home, meaning in Minnesota this week. So Chris Paddack hasn't looked good lately, but there have been enough promising starts mixed in that I would like to trust in him to take advantage of those matchups, certainly in points leagues. I think he's probably somebody who's among those widely available, unlike Eric Fetty, widely available. Chris Paddack's probably the best you're going to do if you're looking for a 2-start streamer. And by the way, Pablo Lopez has those same 2 matchups, Colorado and Oakland. If you were tempted to sit him, probably shouldn't.
Yeah. Tyler
Tyler McGill is making 2 starts against the Marlins. That's a really good matchup. Against the Padres, less so, but 2 starts. So I think Tyler McGill's worth a look here. I like the 1-start options more for this week, so we'll go through those real quick. Luis Severino gets the Marlins. He's coming off a great start. Reese Olson, he's on this list a lot, and he gets the Nationals. Brandon Pfaadt has been pretty steady this year, and he gets an Angels lineup that's especially bad against right-handers. Matt Waldron against the Mets. Mid-tier matchup there, but Waldron's look great with that knuckleball. Jake Irvin and Mitchell Parker, a couple of under-the-radar Nationals, both facing the Tigers this week. And finally, Ben Brown with that big swing and miss curveball against a bad Cardinals lineup.
What about the hitters? Best matchups for next week: the Twins, Padres, D-backs, Pirates, and Mariners. The worst hitter matchups: Red Sox, Phillies, Rockies, Rangers, and Guardians. Who are your favorite sleeper hitters for Week 12?
So, yes, you mentioned the Pirates have the 4th best matchups facing the Cardinals rotation for 3 games. And then in Colorado for the final 3, Nick Gonzales has been a delight this year, Frank. The strikeout rate is down, fly ball rate's up, very productive. I think I'll take advantage of these matchups. And I think Connor Joe, his teammate, could as well. He's a little lower on the list here, but I'll go ahead and combine those 2. Nick Gonzales and Connor Joe. You mentioned the Twins have the best matchups. I like Jose Miranda, but even more, I like Willie Castro because 3 of the 7 pitchers on tap are left-handers. Castro is batting .352 against lefties this year. Davis Schneider's been a regular on this list, and the Blue Jays have favorable matchups again. Andy Pajes has been a regular on this list. The Dodgers have favorable matchups again. Jock Peterson, you mentioned the Diamondbacks have the 3rd best matchups. Only 1 left-hander on the schedule. Peterson only plays against righties and mashes righties, so a good time to use him. JJ Bleday tends to perform his best against righties as well, and that's all the Athletics are scheduled to face in their 7 games, at least as of this recording. And finally, Josh Bell has been hitting well, and the Marlins have good matchups for lefties in 6 games. And this year's been a little different, but last year Josh Bell was especially good against lefties, so not a bad time to look at him.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Odyssey app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.